Alright then, so welcome back to your Sunday update on SBE stock, soon to be Chargepoint stock. Now if you are new to the channel, we have been making videos like this every single Sunday, or at least on the weekend. We do this on a lot of different, stocks. We forecast what we expect to happen during the week. So I'm going to be giving you a relevant news update, my opinions, and what is generally speaking in my forecast going to happen in the week. Then what I would do regarding that. Would I hold? Would I buy? Would I sell? Etc. etc. So yeah, all that is coming up in just a moment. So please do like and subscribe to show your appreciation. We have literally just hit 1,000. Let's now move up to 10,000. I know that we've only got 9,000 to go, so I'm sure we can do this pretty quickly. Now, yeah, it took us a while to get up to 1,000, but you know what? I have seen on the analytics page we are getting this ball rolling, so if you could just help us move on and, just grow the channel, it would be appreciated. Also, feel free to come join us on Discord, link is in the description. Let's have a quick look at SBE stock and the patterns which we have been following, starting off on the 6-month trend. We can see on the 6-month trend the stock has really been quite flat up until news about this merger was first announced, or at least first speculated, when people saw the stock price start to increase from this steady price of about $10-ish, maybe $10.19 today, maybe $10.20 tomorrow, $10.50 here. Not really doing much from that $10 price point, maybe between $9 and $11, let's say, mainly at 10. It was not doing anything up until that initial news where we saw the stock take a small increase up to $14. This was quite significant at the time because it represented a 39% increase. Obviously, I'm not going to foreshadow the growth that we have seen so far. We're going to move on to that in just a moment. But yeah, then it kind of stabled out at a new price point of around $15 with small dips here and there, but mainly remaining at about $15, $16 here, $14 here, at some lows and highs, but around $15 for the whole period. Anyway, then we saw a small dip. This took us down to the $13 range, and from there actually it just went bought up again. So it got bought up and then it went to about $16.37, and from that point we saw this a huge growth. Basically, if we're looking at this, it's about 118% growth recently. And of course, most of that is just due to the fact that the merger is going to be announced soon, and it is coming out soon, basically. And of course, we have seen this in many different companies. The closer we get to the merger, the higher up the stock goes. So I'm going to be explaining why and what this means for the company. So let's have a quick look now into the 1 month so that we can get a little bit more perspective, a little bit more of a accurate representation of what has happened recently. Looking out to the 1 month, we can see that we started the month of $13.23, ended it on $37.13. So that's quite the increase. Absolutely. We can see we've made a huge gain mainly in the last week or so, maybe the last 1 to 2 weeks, where the stock price has increased from about $16.55 all the way up to about $37. So that is quite the big increase in a short amount of time. And like I said, the main reason to that is because of hype is building in the market due to the announcement of the merger, and obviously the closer the merger gets, the higher the stock is probably going to go. So then, what does this mean for our investment patterns? Of course, looking into the 5-day, we can see that the stock does actually appear to have flattened out a little bit, if not took a little bit of a sell-off from that high initially on the Tuesday, where it was at $40. So, of course, it has taken a small dip from that point and gone down to $37. So, not really that big of a dip at all, but still quite the dip. Of course, on the 1 day, we are still positive. This was last Friday, and we can see that we went up from $34.89 all the way up to where we're at now at $37.13. So to conclude what this means, this is basically due to hype building up in the market. Obviously, a lot of people are definitely pumped about this stock being merged with Chargepoint. Chargepoint is one of these EV stocks which people are happy to invest in. We see big growth coming for Chargepoint, and of course, I'm going to be making another update on why. But Chargepoint, the Chargepoint chargers are literally everywhere. They're in my country, they're in America, I'm pretty sure they're in Australia, they're all around the world. And Chargepoint are dedicated to upgrading their infrastructure 50 times in the next 5 years, so of course that will have a huge impact. Subsequently, the electric car market sector is expected to expand, dramatically in the next 10 to 15 years, and for that reason, in a lot of videos I have talked about Chargepoint as one of those stocks which you want to buy and hold forever. And I still see this as being the case, but I think it's important to note, with what we have seen recently, with the stock increasing so rapidly, is right now a good time to buy? Well, I'm going to be doing my best to answer that question. So for this, we will need to go back out to the chart. I'm definitely going to, apply two perspectives to this one right here. The first perspective is going to be a short-term perspective. So what I would do if I was going to hold this one for a relatively short amount of time. And then the second one is going to be for a more long-term, perspective if you want to hold it for a few years or whatnot. So for the short-term perspective, would I buy this now? Yes, I would probably buy this now. Maybe wait for another small dip if we do get fortunate enough to see one. But in my personal opinion, and of course I am not a financial advisor, but in my opinion, I would still buy this one leading up to the merger, because I do still think that we are going to see some hype going up towards that merger date. When would I sell it if I was in for the short term? I would definitely sell 1 to 2 days before the merger, and once that merger goes through, I can definitely see the stock price dropping off a significant bit, because I'm sure a lot of people are doing a swing trade on this one, where they hold it for a few weeks leading up to the merger, and I do understand that one, but I think that will subsequently affect the price, after the merger does go through, as that catalyst, which is the merger, is no longer as apparent, if not at all existent. So of course, looking at this from the long-term perspective, what would I do? I can still see this one being a buy, don't get me wrong, nothing has really changed fundamentally in the company, but I would not buy it this week unless we saw a huge dip. What I would do is I would wait between 1 or 2 weeks after the merger, and of course if you do want to know when would be the best time, please do subscribe, because we'll be updating you on that as soon as we do get some results on how low the stock price has dropped. But either way, I can see some hype, whether it's a small amount or a large amount. Some hype will probably drop out of the market once that merger does go through. So I think for that reason, no, this week I would not buy Chargepoint stock, definitely not until the merger has gone through, simply due to the fact that obviously it's going to be a very volatile time until then, and it's probably going to result in a dip, quite significantly, because if we look at stocks like Helion, if you do remember HYLN stock, we saw a dip of like 50 to 70% on that stock once the merger had gone through in a very short period of time, and of course a lot of people, including myself, did lose money on that one. So I think looking at what has happened in the past in many other companies and many other instances, it would be a clever thing to do to potentially wait until that merger goes through, wait until we get the realistic situation on what we see happening with the stock in the long term, and please don't get the fear of missing out with this one, in the short term, because obviously, yes, a lot of people are swing trading it, a lot of people are short-term investing, and subsequently the share price has been hugely impacted now, but it will probably dip after the merger. So yeah, there's my opinions. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. See you till then, goodbye.